In episode 4 of The Summer Hikaru Died, we pick up with Hikaru hanging around in a quiet alley, feeding a stray cat in a clumsy attempt to pet it. But instead of showing love, he pokes the poor thing, making it sprint away. Hikaru seems frustrated and confused by his own awkwardness and mentions how lost he feels, even about what happened recently. Yoshiki, watching him closely, grabs onto that tiny moment of vulnerability and believes Hikaru might actually be trying to improve and become more human, or maybe more like his old self. At school, some of the girls from Yoshiki's class are talking about weird feelings. One of them warns the others not to cross the train tracks for a while. Her instincts are usually accurate, which means something dangerous could be lurking on the other side. As the village gears up for its summer festival, excitement is in the air. Hikaru and Yoshiki's younger sister, Kaoru, are both eager to attend. While Yoshiki stops to buy Kaoru some takoyaki, some gossipy villagers from a nearby town make rude comments about her not attending school. Kaoru hears them and feels hurt, but Hikaru suddenly appears to break the tension, asking if she wants shaved ice and pulling her away toward the shrine. Meanwhile, a private conversation between village elders reveals the darker side of this town's history. They complain about how the Indo family, including Hikaru's relatives, had been in charge of protecting the village by keeping a powerful spirit called Nonuki-sama sealed away. This responsibility has been passed down for 300 years, and now only Tanaka seems to have any clue what to do. Tanaka mentions that keeping the wooden head-shaped totem nearby provides spiritual protection, and also points out that, unlike other villages, theirs doesn't have a church, only a shrine. That says a lot. When they reach the shrine, something creepy happens. Hikaru can't walk in. He makes a weak excuse and stays behind while Yoshiki goes off to buy the shaved ice. But the moment Hikaru bumps into the shrine's spiritual barrier, Tanaka immediately senses the disturbance and rushes to check it out. Later, while eating their shaved ice near the river, Hikaru starts to question if he's still like the old Hikaru. That's when Yoshiki finally opens up. He confesses that he saw Hikaru's dead body back when he went missing. He wasn't even supposed to go out that night. Kids were told to stay home, but he couldn't help it. He remembers finding Hikaru lying in the mud with blood on his head. After that, he got really sick and passed out for days. When he woke up, Hikaru was alive again. Yoshiki starts crying, remembering how real and painful it all was. Hikaru doesn't know how to comfort him, but he promises to always stay with Yoshiki and protect him no matter what. That's a big promise, and one that could come back in surprising ways in the future. Meanwhile, the elders are still talking about the damaged barrier. Tanaka explains that he uses parts of his own body to make these barriers, so they can't just build a new one easily. He suspects the spirit that entered the village might have changed shape to sneak in unnoticed. That idea is terrifying, because it means it could be anyone. Back at the train tracks, Kuribayashi, who's sensitive to supernatural energy, feels something rising. She starts to worry about Yoshiki. In a flashback, we see Hikaru falling on the mountain, right before dying, thinking about how he didn't want to leave Yoshiki alone. That moment of love and fear may have changed everything. This episode may feel a little slower than the last one, but it dives deep into Yoshiki's trauma. It shows how the weight of that night, seeing his best friend's dead body, never really left him. It's what's been keeping him up at night for months. Even though the body wasn't too damaged, it still felt like Hikaru was really gone. Later, the new Hikaru, now possessed by Nonuki-sama, explained that Yoshiki might have found him during the repair phase, when the spirit was still fixing the body to possess it. That's next level creepy. Spoiler alert, Yoshiki actually wanted to tell people what he saw, but once he got down from the mountain, his memory got hazy. He may have been in shock, or maybe even under the spirit's influence. He blacked out for days. When he came to, everyone said Hikaru had been found safe and sound. But Yoshiki couldn't believe it. He had seen the lifeless body himself. From then on, Yoshiki started noticing subtle differences in Hikaru's behavior, enough to realize this wasn't the same boy. Eventually, Nonuki-sama admitted that he took over Hikaru's body just before he died. The spirit hinted that Hikaru's final wish was to see Yoshiki again. That desperate wish may have been why this supernatural thing came into play in the first place. This brings us to one very important detail: Hikaru's promise to always protect Yoshiki and do whatever he asks. That moment may come back later when Yoshiki might have to ask him to leave the village for everyone's safety. Will Hikaru follow through? It's hard to say, but that line definitely sets the stage for what's coming. Let's talk about the ritual. A group of villagers, Takeda, Mikasa, and Matsushima, discuss how the Indo family had been in charge of performing a sacred ritual to trap evil spirits in the mountains. The last person to do it was Hikaru's dad, Kohai. But something went wrong and the ritual didn't hold. That's probably why the mountain god, or Nonuki-sama, was able to come down. Now Kohai is dead, and Hikaru is too young to take his place, so the village is in trouble. Tanaka, the mysterious guy who seems to know a lot about this stuff, shows up and mentions a wooden totem he found in the mountains. Turns out it's the same one Hikaru had with him when he went up there the day he died. This totem was key to the ritual. Once Hikaru lost it, he lost protection, and that's when the spirit swooped in. Tanaka also seems suspicious of the entire village. Why are they worshipping such a powerful spirit and calling it a god? And why don't they have a church like everyone else? Even Yoshiki seemed confused when he saw a Christian cross at the festival. This town clearly has its own strange spiritual traditions, and Tanaka is determined to uncover the truth. Eventually, he knows the villagers will be forced to open up if they want his help. Let's not forget about the barrier Tanaka set up. Hikaru touched it by accident, and Tanaka felt it instantly. He suspected the festival might have attracted the spirit, because they enjoy human energy. Tanaka also believes the spirit must have changed form, because if it appeared in its original form, people would have run away screaming. If he's right, it means Hikaru could be the spirit in disguise, and Tanaka might eventually figure that out. Yoshiki's desire to leave the village also makes more sense now. His home life is a mess, with parents constantly fighting and the entire village gossiping about his family. It's a suffocating place, and Yoshiki wants freedom to live on his own terms. There's even a conversation about a local boy from the Yasuburo family who was actually gay but treated as if he had a disease. This shows just how old, school, and judgmental the village really is. That's another reason Yoshiki wants out. A small detail that fans might have noticed. Yoshiki and Hikaru were eating red and blue shaved ice near the shrine. It's a nod to the Matrix. Yoshiki had the red one, which symbolizes reality, while Hikaru had the blue, symbolizing illusion. This perfectly represents Yoshiki's internal struggle: eat, accept the truth, or stay in a comforting lie. Now, let's talk about that post-credit scene. Yes, there is one. It shows Hikaru going to the mountains to perform the ritual, like his father once did. His father had told him that the mountain god made a deal. They couldn't harm the Indos directly, but could hurt the people they loved. Hikaru feared that Yoshiki could become a target. That's why he went up there, but he slipped and hit his head before finishing the ritual. And that's when Nonuki-sama took over. It's tragic because all Hikaru wanted was to protect Yoshiki. There's also a hint that a new spirit might be on the loose. At the start of the episode, a character senses something near the train tracks. At the end, we see Ri Kurabayashi standing nearby. She's the same person who warned Yoshiki about Nonuki-sama. She's clearly dealing with her own trauma, maybe guilt or grief, and that makes her vulnerable. If the spirit feels threatened by her, especially if she's trying to turn Yoshiki against Hikaru, it might target her next. That scene where Hikaru hits the barrier and suddenly changes his expression was chilling. It suggests that he's fully aware of everything and just pretending to be clueless to gain Yoshiki's trust. If that's true, then Hikaru, or whatever is inside him, might be a lonely, manipulative spirit who will do anything to stay near Yoshiki. That includes sending other spirits after those who try to come between them. We'll have to wait for the next episode to see what the spirit does to Ri, or if she survives at all. But one thing's for sure, the show is diving deeper into psychological horror, supernatural mystery, and emotional trauma with every episode.